Hey guys and girls, this is Gundir Quid. In this episode, we're doing a little bit of testing with CVs and RCSs pretty much. What I have here, this long tubular brick, is a CV 100 blocks towards the front, 100 blocks to the south. Total of 201 blocks if you count the core as a block. Both ends have this little plus icon here with two lights and a cockpit. The back side, which is where I'm at, actually has it on the bottom. You can't really flip it over to align it correctly with the ship, but I put it on the bottom because the front actually has it on the top. I want to keep the whole thing as balanced as possible. Right now I'm kind of jetpacking around. I wish I had like a little speeder I could throw up here in space so I could just zip through and get to the next portion and show you that portion, but I haven't made anything small like that. But we'll worry about that later. Probably actually start playing with that. Now, this specific test, I'm testing 4 RCSs total. What I did was RCS, let's see. Okay, see that little hex mesh right there? That is the actual bottom. So I always aligned it towards the center of the craft, the center being the front to back axis. Kinda the whole, I'm gonna call that x-axis, if you will. Let's just make it simpler. So I aligned all the blocks of RCS on this side. I made sure the hex cube was facing the bottom. So if I go here, adjusting it, you'll see the hex is on the bottom, and I just plopped it like right there. I did 2 of those. I did the same thing on the opposite side. Made the hex portion, the bottom portion of the item, face that side. Also, I wanted to keep straight balance, so I threw on 4 of the large generators, 2 fill canisters as well, just to keep balance straight across. I also have both maxed out on all fuel as possible. Put yellow blocks every 10, or yellow color blocks every 10 blocks to help keep my count. There's a total of 10 yellow blocks on here. And then this is our testing end. What it is it's SV. Obviously, you can see SV. It's got all RCS on 4 corners to help me align it to the CV. The exact same configuration the backside, except for I'm using yellow lights here. It's easier for me to see yellow lights on this backboard. This backboard is roughly black, white, 10 blocks. The red one is the 11th block. From bottom to top, that is 23 if you count the core blocks across. I try to get it as reasonable as possible. Now when I'm inside the CV, you're gonna see like a very dark like pillar kind of at the very center. I'll actually mark it with a circle real quick. It should be up there by now. Then you're gonna see like 2 gray shadows going off the sides, and then the very top is gonna be very light colored because there's no shadows there. What I did is the very peak of that triangle, I aligned it to the very bottom. I tested all RCS configurations on here, middle, front, back, multiple different estimates, and I just held the up arrow because it's a consistent speed in a certain direction, whereas the mouse has, it jumps and slowly reverts you back to not turning direction, which is kind of annoying. I don't like it, but it's kind of nice, especially with space games. So, but what I did was I took the keyboard, I hit the up arrow, went all the way to the top. As soon as I hit the top, I let go of the up arrow, pause the recording, I loaded it into my video editor, got how many seconds it took to travel from the bottom to the top. There's 30 frames per second, and a lot of them were 1 second plus a couple of frames. So, I mean, that was relatively easy to count out. Just like zoom it down to frames and count them out. I think the most was 40 something frames, not too much. Then after I did that test, I wrote all my numbers down. What I did was I went to about 45 degrees. It's kind of hard to check, so it's a lot of guesswork. That's about 45 degrees, give or take. What I did was I zoomed in all the way. I'm going to just keep zoomed out so I can show you what I did. And I held the up arrow until I got to about, actually I kept going. And then right here, you just zoom past the block. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay in first person view and show you what it looks like. Really hard to tell. Most of it was 20 to 10 frames total. Crossed it and zoop, it's gone. As soon as I passed it, I let go, paused the recording, went to the video editor, and counted out the frames. It was between, 17 and 10 frames. I'll actually post every result I have at the end of this video real quick. Actually, here it is right there. You should be seeing it, all configurations I measured from RCS in the middle. Did all the settings from there. 2 RCS in the middle, 4 RCS in the middle. I didn't do 1 or 3 because you can't keep an even balance on the ship. I don't know if balance affects it, but I like to assume it does. Then after I put it in the middle, I tested all configurations. I put it in the front and back, the most extreme areas, and did the same thing. The end results was, no matter where you have the RCS, the speed to travel was consistent with the amounts of RCS, whether they're in the middle, they're at the front back, they're at the back, they're at the front, wherever kind of configuration, they were all relative to the amounts of RCS you have on the ship. I didn't calculate a maximum because I'll actually need to make a bigger baseboards, and so it would be easier to read. Because this was relative, like 12 frames or something like that. If I maybe double the size of this this board and test on that, might be able to see exactly how many RCS gets how many frames, but that's the result. What I'm going to do now is I want to throw a clip. It's about 5 seconds long. It's 10 frames, but I stretched it from 10 frames to 5 seconds so you can actually get a feel how the frames tick. I don't know, it's easier for me to visualize, so I'm just going to show you what it looks like right here. Okay, should be able to see. I'll actually play it again real quick, but the end result, it doesn't matter where your RCS is, as long as you have the RCS. I didn't measure maximum, minimum amounts of RCS. Obviously, you need at least 1 before you can use your ship, but obviously there is a noticeable increase from 2 to 4. Now, obviously, that increase in up-down traverse speed has a negative result as well. It takes longer to stop turning, and it takes longer to start turning. Well, the more RCS you have, the quicker it starts turning. The less RCS you have, the longer it takes to turn. The more RCS you have, the longer it takes to stop turning. The fewer RCS, the slower it takes to stop turning. It's kind of a counter result. Like if you overturn something, it's longer to correct than if you got it right on the money, kind of. It's got a positive and negative result depending on how bad at turning you are. Now, what I'm going to do is I still need to test the left and right. Obviously, I can't really test it here because for some reason it wants to jump the ship up and down, which I'm actually using the up, down, left, right. For some reason, it wants to throw the ship in a downward direction when I go left and an upward direction when I go right. So I can't really effectively test the left-right axis. I don't know why that is, but I just noticed that. I wonder if it has... Let's see, I'm going to try rolling it, and my ship just like freaks out. I try to roll the EQ button, it freaks out. Like it works and then it stops working, and then it works and it stops. It's kind of buggy. It's like I'm hitting an invisible wall or something. Obviously I don't have any thrusters at all. That could be a factor. Right now I just have straight RCS, which theoretically you should be able to turn left and right without it freaking out and going sporadically in other directions, because all you're using is RCS and it's momentum. It shouldn't cause the ship to sporadically turn like it is. It might be a bug, I don't know. But yeah, that is today's episode. A little bit of testing to see what results we have. This is my Gundir Quid, and fly safe. Alright guys and gals, we are back. We got most of our base finished. Most of this base down here has already been taken down. So let's show you what we did up here on the mountaintop. It's quite lovely. I like it a lot. And hopefully you would be impressed as well.